Well, hello there. Have you ever wondered why Napoleon was so short? Me neither. Let's move on. Just a little humor to start us off. Very little. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to History 5B, World History from 1500 to the present at Woodland Community College, the online version. I am your host and tour guide, Christian Jardine, but you may call me Christian Jardine. Uh, why have I summoned you here today? Well, let me tell you. First, I wanted to give you a shout out and welcome. Welcome. Okay, that part's done. But also to give you just a basic rundown of what the class is about, so you have some idea ahead of time, just as we begin. More details on much of this later on. So let me begin by talking a bit about myself. Not because you're wildly interested, I'm sure you're not interested at all, but because it helps us to know at least a little bit about each other, to make all this work in an online format, break the ice, personalize things a little bit. And if you wouldn't mind, if you don't want to, that's fair enough. It's optional. Send me an email back giving me some basics about yourself, a little bio. Don't give me a long autobiography. I have time for that. But I'm primarily interested in why you're taking this class, what you're studying in school, what your goals are, things like that. So if you're comfortable, by all means, tell me something about yourself. And we'll break the ice both ways. So I hail from the lovely city of Stockton, California. Yeah, make all the jokes you like. I'll stop for a second. Okay, jokes are done. I was raised the only child of a high school teacher and a hairdresser, and in a nice, comfortable, middle class neighborhood. Went to good school, so I was blessed. My ethnic and cultural background is Italian Catholic on my father's side and German Jewish Protestant on my mother's. But the household I grew up in was primarily non-religious, not entirely. I played competitive tennis all through my childhood and beyond. Played serious piano for many, many years. And my other hobby, my biggest one now, yes, you guessed it, reading. And I read copiously. You're probably not surprised. Professionally, I hold two degrees, an MA, a BA and MA in history from Sacramento State University. I've lived in this area ever since. I've been teaching at the college level for 25 years. I've been at Woodland Community College all that time, but also I've taught that entire time at American River College and Sierra College as well. I'm like a stray cat that just keeps coming back. If you feed it, it comes back to the door again. So they keep offering me classes, and I keep taking them for 25 straight years. Kind of a creature of habit, I suppose. I teach a large variety of courses, six mostly. I teach the uh, two survey courses in world history, one of which you're in now, the two surveys in Western civilization, and the two surveys in U.S. history. I've taught all of them many, many times. I like teaching every one of them. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think of me? That's right. That's another joke. I stole that one from an old movie, and I've used that incessantly. I beat that joke into the ground. I need some new material, apparently. So, next, a quick, brief rundown of some of the things that we're going to do in this class, the type of work you'll have to do. More on this later. Excuse me. The course will include regular PowerPoint lectures. This is the primary vehicle by which I impart information and knowledge to you in the class. It will include online discussion groups, web-based assignments, and what I call mini exams. Not many, but there's a lot of them, but mini exams. There are no big midterms or finals in this class. There's a bunch of small exams that divides the class up into smaller chunks and tests you more frequently. There will be a 1 hour, once a week, live meeting on ConferZoom. Don't freak out. It's not mandatory, it's optional. And there'll be a recorded version of it. The meetings, of course, will take place on ConferZoom. And there'll be a recorded version of it. If you can't make the live version and still want to see what you missed, you can do that. Either way, it's either way, whether you come live or watch it later on, you'll get a small number of extra credit points, which add up if you come to one meeting or watch one meeting after the next. Excuse me. What will we do in those? It'll primarily be like a study session. I will be helping you to study for the next upcoming exam or study the particular unit we're on at that given time. Many students find them valuable, but if you don't need to watch the recorded version or show up live. Once the class goes entirely live on Canvas, meaning everything is up on Canvas, it would definitely behoove you to familiarize yourself with Canvas. I don't mean like Canvas in general. Most of you already know how to use Canvas, probably know how to use it better than I do, but I mean how I use Canvas, how the class is organized within Canvas. Excuse me. Because you want to know where to find things and how everything is laid out before we begin. You don't want to have to try to find things as you're doing an assignment. People start panicking then, and I don't know where to find this or that. It's due tomorrow, and I started a little bit late. Take the time at the beginning and sort of know how to navigate my use of Canvas. And I'll give you a hint. The best place to look is modules. On the left-hand menu, the options are discussions and grades and files and so forth. You want to find modules. And not just now at the beginning, but throughout the class. Modules is the key place to go on Canvas. Think modules, modules, modules. Everything is laid out there, pretty much. So the introductory module, the first one, is self-explanatory, but if you go through that sort of piece by piece all the way down and do what it tells you to do, small videos to watch, things to read, you'll be off to a good start in understanding how everything is structured and set up. Underneath that is the syllabus module. And yes, you guessed it, it contains the syllabus. And I would read that in full as well and do it sooner rather than later. Not because it makes exciting reading, it certainly does not. It is deathly boring. It is nothing if not boring. However, if you don't read it and you don't take the time to get sort of your bearings at the beginning of the class, it could very well cost you later in the class. You won't understand certain things probably that come up, or you'll think, I never heard that before. So take the time now, as boring as it is, to get yourself familiar with what we're doing, where we're going. Underneath introductory module and then syllabus module, there's one called web-based assignments module. And everything you'll need for the web-based assignments is there, including the links to the websites we're going to be using. So that if you have any questions at any point in the class about the web-based assignments, go to the web-based module and find it all right there at your fingertips. Beneath those, there are week-to-week modules numbered, week 1 through 16. And there you can find everything. The PowerPoint lectures are on modules in the appropriate week, the appropriate unit. Reading assignments, which chapter or chapters to read. If there's an exam at the end of the week, if there's a homework assignment due, if there's been a web-based assignment to do, all of it is there on that week's modules. So if we're in week 5, oh my God, I don't know where we are in the class. You can email me, but you probably should try to find what it says for week 5 in modules. If you don't know what week it is, find the date in there. It'll say week 5, such and such date to such and such date. So find the appropriate dates where we are and navigate, navigate through that module. That's what we're doing that week. Excuse me. What are we studying? The subject matter itself. Well, the course is a survey of world history from basically the 16th century, 1500s, to the present. that provides a narrative overview of some of the most significant political events, political history as it's broadly construed, right, the last several hundred years of world history, and how those political events relate to some of the larger social forces, social history broadly construed, of this whole time period. For instance, we will look at important political events like the rise of the Manchu dynasty in China, the slave revolution in Haiti, or the Treaty of Versailles at the end of World War I, but also spend time looking at the social concomitants and ramifications of such events, such as how people's everyday lives and patterns of thinking, living were affected, and partly changed because of such phenomena like the Treaty of Versailles. We'll explore the role of powerful, significant individuals, such as Simone Bolivar, Napoleon Bonaparte, who I mentioned at the outset, Suleiman the Magnificent, and their role in shaping the past, but also look at how social groups, oftentimes oppressed, underprivileged social groups like women, slaves, serfs, small farmers, influenced and were in turn affected by history. We will explore the important role of underlying impersonal forces in history, something historians are big on, as well they should be. For instance, the eastward expansion of Russia, the rise of modern industrial Japan, the triangular trade, and the monstrous evil of slavery. These are larger, sometimes extremely important, sometimes catastrophic, sometimes not, impersonal forces in history. History is an empirically based subject, based on evidence, and so we must have a foundation of kind of the who, what, when, where. So yes, there's no way around it. You're going to have to know some names, dates, memorize some people, etc. I know that's probably not welcome news, but there's just no way around it. However, those are the basics, and we're going to use that foundational knowledge to sort of do a deeper dive and to get into sort of a more complexity. So we'll be looking at the who, when, what, where, with an eye to the why and the how, interpreting the past, asking questions about the past, historical inquiry, illustrating how the past can be a useful guide, tool in understanding the present, drawing conclusions about history, trying to understand both continuity and change through the era studied. So all of this sort of gets us from the basics to more complicated stuff underneath, from the who, what, when, where, to the how and the why. Before we adjourn today, maybe you already have adjourned, I feel it necessary to lay out the basics of my teaching philosophy. I always do this, but in online classes I've come to the conclusion I should do that right away before I forget. So I'm doing it right away. So I see my job as teaching you history, but not teaching you what to think about history, to assist you in improving your ability to think about serious and important subjects, both past and present, but not what to think about such subjects. For that reason, I try to be as objective as possible. I'm not perfect, but I try to be as objective as I can and present the subject from various viewpoints, not just one or my own. To do this, I stay away from making moral judgments about the past, which isn't to say that it's not appropriate for you to make moral judgments, but that my job, as I see it, is to give you many ways to see such things and let you make those judgments yourself. In a sense, I'm helping you to learn more about the subject so that you can make more informed judgments. I'm not making those judgments for you or telling you how to make such judgments or draw such conclusions. I don't like alienating anyone in the class, even one person. So I don't show sort of favoritism to one political viewpoint or party or another. Not that I don't have such viewpoints, but I don't really share my own. Also, I will play devil's advocate from time to time. So devil's advocate, if you don't already know, means sort of somebody taking the other side of something or another side not because they believe it per se, but to help sharpen someone else's thinking. So when I see a student or students who are certain they're right about something that I believe is, open to question, or at least can be looked at from a different, angle and viewpoint, I sometimes question them to see if, heaven forbid, they might not be missing something and haven't considered all the possibilities. And when I do so, it doesn't necessarily reflect my own viewpoint. I'm taking the other side because you took the other side. It may reflect my own viewpoint. It may not. But again, I'm human, and so I will interject my opinions here and there, and my views here and there, sometimes without even meaning to. But I don't do it very often. A further, more specific word on world history itself, and then we'll be finished here as a subject of study, consistent with the above philosophy that I just, again, kind of laid out. I look at world history with both a glass half empty approach and a glass half full approach. What does that mean? Well, there's all too many horrific misdeeds done by individuals and societies to other peoples or their own peoples, such as slavery, imperialism, the catastrophic cultural revolution in communist China, for instance, the Holocaust in Europe. However, as is true of all civilizations in history all over the world, then and now, the good comes with the bad comes with the good. So we'll also look at laudable achievements, things that are sort of the positive side of world civilizations, both social and individual achievements, like the astonishing and vibrant Aztec capital at Tenochtitlan, incredible city, for its time, in its time, or the amazing sacrifices of figures like Mohandas Gandhi, Nelson Mandela to bring freedom to their people. So yes, we have to, should, will talk about sort of the more ugly features of history, the ugly events. We must and will spend lots of time on them, but I think it needs to be balanced out. Because there are plenty of things that happened in world history in the past several hundred years that are inspiring, that are edifying. So too many societies, particularly the Europeans, as we'll see, have committed more than their share of evils, both at home and abroad, to be sure. But we must scrutinize those things openly, honestly, and thoroughly. But from there, should not lose sight of, again, the more edifying features of those same people's histories, whoever we're talking about at any given time. Because that side requires attention as well to get the full picture of the subject at hand. In essence, we want to understand history, you have to sort of analyze it and look at all dimensions, three-dimensionally, looking at three-dimensionally instead of one-dimensionally. Okay, my introduction is complete. I've welcomed you, and I look forward to meeting everyone, so to speak, and I hope you will join me in what I see, you may not, as a journey of discovery and exploration through decades and centuries of the past from a global world perspective. Until then, I bid you adieu. Adieu.